and I kind of wanted to hear another song. So he's not on the schedule, but I really freaking love him. So um, let's open with that, and then we'll get to some phenomenal speakers. We've got a great surprise. Stay to the end. The end is going to be so much fun. You'll be laughing and dancing, and it'll be great. So let's get started with session 3. Thanks so much for being here today. This is awesome.
Please welcome Al Bettis.
You gonna eat my cheesecake?
TEDxDetroit, how you guys doing again? How many of you were in the morning session? I wanted to apologize for making people cry. So yeah, it's okay. So this is a happier song. It's about divorce. No, it's about pivoting, as someone said earlier, after divorce, and still being able to live a full life. So that's what the song is about. It's called Gray Skies. Yeah. It all started with a smile, your soft eyes peeking through my soul. And though it feels like a while, he cautiously as this unfolds. But it feels like heaven when I'm with you. Arms wrapped so tight, I can tell when you breathe. Feel your heartbeat beating on me. And it seems like forever when you're away. So I thank my lucky stars for the day you came. And you wiped my tears away. And now there are no more gray skies over my head now. Sun is breaking through. And it's all because of you. Now there are no more gray skies over my head now. Sun is breaking through. And it's all because of you. You don't have to say a word, lie next to me. Let's drift away. It all feels like a blur, moving so fast, and we both pray that we can withstand the fray. But it feels like heaven when I'm with you. Arms wrapped so tight, I can tell when you breathe. Feel your heartbeat beating on me. And it seems like forever when you're away. So thank my lucky stars for the day you came. And you wiped my tears away. Now there are no more gray skies over my head now. Sun is breaking through, and it's all because of you. Now there are no more gray skies over my head now. Sun is breaking through, and it's all because of you. I feel your heart pulling on me. Yeah. Just like a puppet, you hold the strings. Yeah, I am all yours. Do what you want with me. 'Cause when I'm with you, I see things clearly. And I'm better when you're near me. No more gray skies over my head now. Sun is breaking through, and it's all because of you. Now there are no more gray skies over my head now. Sun is breaking through, it's all because of you. Thank you, TEDxDetroit. Thank you so much.
Please welcome the co-founder of Behavioral Elements, Jay Johnson.
So it's March of 2020. The whole world comes to a stop. I found myself as a corporate speaker and trainer and organizational consultant having a lot more time on my hands. So, as many did. So I decided to teach my 10-year-old nephew how to play chess. Now, I'm over there one day and I'm sitting there playing and I'm looking at my phone. Great commercial for no texting and driving because you can't play chess and text at the same time. Not paying attention, and I move my queen, and oops, I took my hand off of it. You ever have that moment? That moment in time when you're just like, oh, I'm having that moment. But I'm like, all right, you're a behavioral scientist. Focus, just pretend like nothing's happening. So I'm looking at my phone. I'm kind of looking out of the corner of my eye. My nephew's looking at the board. He's looking at me, looks at the board, and wipes my queen off the stage. I'm like, my hands start to sweat. My heart starts beating 1,000 miles an hour. I start getting this sickness. Now, this is not the Grandmaster Championship of chess. This is me and my 10-year-old nephew. But these thoughts start coming into my brain. Just stand up and bump the table. Guess we can start over. Now, before you think I'm a monster, I didn't do that. I stopped, I looked, I was like, nice move, buddy. You might have me this time. Now, thankfully, he screwed up, and I ended up winning anyways. But that's not the moral of this story. The moral of the story is so often we have thoughts or feelings, and sometimes we don't even know where they come from. Sometimes they feel like they're foreign to us. But what if we could understand where our behaviors come from? What if we could make a better choice every single day to empower our future? And that's what this is about. This is about empowering our future by understanding the 4-Drive framework. The 4-Drive framework comes from Paul Lawrence and Nitin Noria, 2 scientists from Harvard University. They came up with this concept to say human beings, all of us, have 4 different drives. And part of the behavioral elements was mapping those drives and putting an element to it and being able to measure it. I'll tell you what the 4 drives are. The first, the drive to acquire. Think our ancient ancestors. They had to hunt, they had to gather, they had to acquire resources. That's our fire element. Very competitive, status, ego sometimes. We have the drive to defend. We had to protect our resources. We had to plan for the future. We had to get out there and make sure that our environment was going to be conducive to our survival. That's our drive to defend, our earth element. We had to learn. We had to find new tools. We had to figure out ways to do things that we haven't done before. We had to get new experiences, find new terrains. We had to invent the iPhone eventually. That's our drive to learn, our air element. And then last but not least, we had to work together. Because as a species, we were not the biggest, we were not the smartest. In fact, at that time, human beings, there was multiple species of us, but we survived. And that was part of what they wanted to understand was how did we do that when we weren't the biggest? Well, that drive to bond, that connection drive, the need for people. So what does this mean? Every single day you are faced with so many choices. And there may have been times in your life that you wanted to scream at somebody, but you chose not to. There's other times, I'll give you an example. Each of these elements, now this is where it might be a little different than a personality assessment because it's not your one or the other. These things are constantly at work, pushing and pulling on each other. Let me give you an example of this, okay? I want you to imagine that there's this giant chocolate cake brought into your break room at your workplace. And you're like, that part of your brain's like, ooh, that smells good. I want that so bad. And then you get this other little voice that's like, no, Jay, you are on a diet right now. You can't have that. And then you get this other voice like, hey, but you were walking around all day at TEDx. You burned enough calories to have that cake. And then another voice comes in and says, yeah, but you made promises to your family. You were going to stay on track. You don't want to lose that. And you have this push and pull. Now, if I put that chocolate cake down in front of my pup, there is no debate. That dog is going to go and devour that cake, regardless of whether or not that's poison, regardless of whether or not she's going to regret it later. She is just going to devour the cake. But that's what makes us uniquely and amazingly human, is that we can have these thoughts and feelings And yet we can choose a behavioral pathway that's more effective. Now, what we tried to do with the behavioral elements was measure out these drives to understand maybe some of the drives don't necessarily pull at us at the same levels that others do. So we created an assessment that ultimately measures out whether we're balanced in a drive, whether there's a lowness to it, whether there's harmony, whether it goes up or down, to find out exactly how much a drive might be pulling on us. And this assessment, it took us multiple years to perfect this, to really do the research, to get in there and interview and participant observation to better understand how we're being pulled. Now, you might guess I am a fire element, very, very high fire, along with air, which means I like to innovate in order to produce results. I like to get out there and compete and win. But I also recognize that sometimes competing can come at the cost of bonding, can come at the cost of learning. I had to learn to pull back on some of those drives. And that's what behavioral elements does. It helps us be aware of how those drives are pushing and pulling us every single decision that we make. And we make in a range of 20,000 every single day. Now, one of the other things that we've done with this is we started to look at industries. We've gotten a lot of data off this. And we started to look and say, how can we help other industries really understand what's going on? Now, when we look at, say, something like education, wow, teachers, frontline teachers have a very, very strong drive to bond, which also we come to find in our research that the drive to bond can also lead to burnout, because constantly looking and taking care of other people can be exhausting. When we look at, say, something like healthcare, we've seen very similar, but a secondary drive emerges that's maybe a little bit different. We see a little bit of fire. We see that competition. We see that push forward. When we look at something like real estate, salespeople, we see a very strong drive to acquire, but also a connection to bond. They want to help people acquire their dreams at the same time acquiring theirs. We see CEOs, very strong drive to acquire, and if they're not careful, they may leave their teams behind them. When we think about nonprofits, we see a very strong drive to connect, that bond, that humanistic element. But again, we can also see a lot of that burnout. So understanding these things can really help us guide our employees, our teams, our leaders in their motivation. What do they want to accomplish? How to collaborate more effectively, how to communicate, how to make better decisions. And if we make better behavioral decisions, we will win. That's the fire speaking. Now, behavior, it is the source of success and failure. And ultimately, when you're building a culture, it is the micro behaviors that build the macro culture. It's a choice, friends. You can't just say, this is how I am. That's how you're choosing to be. Understanding these drives will help you make better choices and hopefully help you thrive and survive in our world today. Thank you so much.
Going to be lab 2 next. Lab 2. Please welcome Principal Director of Adobe, Terry White.
It is so good to be home again. Hey, everybody. What's up, Detroit? We good? All right, I'm gonna take you on a journey. AI is here. You can stop trying to make it go away. It's not going away. New technology usually causes one of 3 responses. This is where I live. I get excited about new technology. I get excited about gadgets, things that are gonna make me make my life easier, automations, everything. This is where I live. However, a lot of you live here, especially when it's new. You're concerned, not sure how this is gonna play out, how's it gonna impact me? Not in a good way, you're thinking of those things. And of course, then there's just flat out fear. You're panicked. The world is gonna end now because of this new thing that just came out. Well, some will always believe that new technology is here to replace them. And I want you to repeat after me. This is going to be a statement, and I'm going to explain it. So just bear with me. Repeat after me. New technology replaces jobs, not people. Say it. New technology replaces jobs, not people. You're puzzled. I see the looks. So I'll give you an example. Beyonce and Taylor Swift are on some of the biggest music concerts on tour right now in history. And we have digital music. We have synthesized music. We have a rapper that's synthesized. We have all of this technology. Last time I checked, no one is paying thousands of dollars to sit in an audience to hear a robot sing, dance, or play an instrument. Say it with me. New technology replaces jobs, not people. You're still going to go see Beyonce no matter what comes out. You're still going to see Taylor Swift no matter what comes out technology-wise. So this is not a new concept. You think about it, in our lifetimes, especially in my lifetime, because I'm probably a little older than some of you, we have seen jobs get replaced by technology. Some of these jobs you're probably thinking, yeah, when's the last time I used a travel agent? I just do it on my phone. And they're trying to replace you at the checkout with self-serve. I refuse to do this one though. No. Yeah, I'm not getting a discount. Like, you're making me do the work. I don't work here. Anyway, when's the last time you saw an elevator operator? When's the last time you saw most of these positions? The people still exist. The jobs changed. Technology usually creates more jobs than it replaces. And I'm a prime example of this. I wouldn't be standing here today had it not been for technology early on in my career. I started here with desktop publishing, PageMaker, a Mac, and a laser writer. I had no formal training. I did not go to a school. I did not learn any of this. I did it all on the go. I took out a loan for $10K to buy the stuff. I set up an office, rented down here in downtown Detroit to start my business. I knew nothing about it, but I did it. AOL and the World Wide Web gave us information at our fingertips in our own homes. Digital cameras, Kodak was one of the first digital camera-backed companies. And to think about it, that they're pretty much gone now. But they were one of the first to give us digital cameras that you see all these people walking around with today. Blogs gave us a voice without having to go to a magazine or a newspaper and beg to be published. Amazon.com, now this one is a big one because it kind of like decimated some brick and mortar, especially bookstores, but it gave us the ability to self-publish and get our words out on a printed page that others could buy without having to get approval from a publisher. It also enabled this new thing they have called the drop, so that brands can actually get their stuff in front of millions of people that they otherwise would have never been able to be in front of. So we think about music. And a friend of mine here, Bruce, we talked about Napster a few minutes ago. And we all downloaded songs from Napster illegally and all that. But the bottom line, we now buy, the bottom line is this technology gave artists the ability to record music and publish their songs, have concerts, everything, without having to go through a record label first. YouTube, my shows are on YouTube now. No TV was ever gonna put me on TV for my shows. I don't have to. And by the way, side note, my YouTube revenue paid for my photography studio, paid for cars, paid for lots of things, let's put it that way. Palm phones, who can remember these? This was the staple. You had a PDA and a phone, you were happy. And believe it or not, I saw this stat that at one point, Palm was bigger than Apple and NVIDIA, the chip company, combined. I didn't believe it. So I researched it. They were not only bigger than them, they were bigger than McDonald's and GM at one point. Anyone carrying a Palm today? You know why? Because this happened. Apple, not a phone company, created a touchscreen phone, and Palm and BlackBerry dismissed it. They said, everyone's gonna still want a physical keyboard. No one's gonna wanna do this on a touchscreen. we all know what happened as a result. Podcasting and live streaming enables me to have my weekly show live, enables you to live stream on the spot from your phone to anyone in the world. So, AI, the next thing. It's the next thing that's going to cause excitement, concern, and fear. This is where we should be. Happy, dancing in the rain. This is where most of you are. Because you think this is about to happen. And there's lots of social media posts out there to support it. It's a fast-moving train coming towards us. So I encourage you to get on board and stop. Don't miss it, because we saw some of the examples earlier of people that miss it, and we definitely don't want to be in front of it. AI is far from perfect, makes mistakes, and it'll be a long time before it's perfect, if ever. So you still have a role. Let's talk generative AI. This is where I live. This is where I'm excited. ChatGPT is great. I use it all the time. But I'm into generative AI, where I can literally type a text prompt and get images that never existed before. Now, I don't use it to generate images from scratch. I use it to assist me in my photography. So as a photographer, for example, I might take one of my images from Horseshoe Bend, like this one, that I didn't really like when I took it, and straighten it out and have generative fill in the edges. As it fills in those edges, the one thing I hated about this image was the sky. So I'll use AI to select that sky, figure out what the sky is. I don't have to draw around it. It just knows what it is. Then I'll use generative fill and type in beautiful desert sky and have it replace that sky with a better one. So now I can use this image. All right, let's move on. Coffee stains. Near impossible to fix. Takes hours to get this right. So let's make some selections. Let's go through it, and let's let the AI fix it with a click. All right, gets better. Maybe we're envisioning a career change after being at TEDx today. So we want to be a doctor. Well, why not generate a hospital background for this woman so she can perceive herself visually as to where she's headed? So now we not only generate this background, we even give her a staff, by the way. That's pretty cool. But she needs to look the part. So let's go ahead and make that selection. I know some of you were taking pictures out there with Sean Lee. He's going to do some of this with your pictures if you go to the Adobe booth. So making selections, going around it, and then we're going to have the AI generate her uniform as a doctor. All for mere mortals that can type a couple of words. So just like that, we get her in a uniform. We get multiple choices, by the way. So let's move on. So I'm going to wrap up and just simply say, I love this technology, and you should too. Don't be afraid of it, because you're just going to get left behind if you ignore it. Don't be Palm. So with that said, that's the image I used for the promo for this. Embrace new technology, get on the tracks, and don't get off the tracks, get on the train. Thank you.
Sing, Mike. Please welcome performer Trey Little.
TEDx, is it okay for me to tell you my story?
Dream Kings.
Yeah. My name is Trey Little, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the street wars that I survived. And then I'm going to talk about what happened after and everything that I get to do in my city. Here we go. Yeah.
We gon' keep on working till we make it out these trenches. We ain't got no handouts, just had to go and get it.
Y'all can get y'all phones up and put y'all lights up. Here we go.
Keep eating. Lost a lot up in these streets, and I don't need another reason. We gon' keep on working till we make it out these trenches. We ain't got no handouts, just had to go and get it. As long as I'm breathing, I'm gonna make sure we keep eating. Lost a lot up in these streets, and I don't need another reason.
Yeah.
And I done been through so much pain, yeah. They took my heart, ain't been the same, yeah.
Yeah.
Them bullets raining, it get dangerous.
Yeah, and I can feel it as I sing this. Yeah, I lost someone that I love, and now that it's on my mind, it cost a lot to get here. Been through it so many times. Was a kid when they killed my dad. Ever since I had to grind, I told my mama, don't worry, I just need some more. I done had some homies walking with me, die the next day. They out here killing by the second, so I ain't got time to play. Got a feeling I'ma make it, so I really can't play. Gotta get that paper, and if you hate, I gotta move you out the A. Going fast, going up, never looking back. Yeah, more friends, all cap, got no time for that. Hey, 15 was moving crack, now I trap a rap. Yeah, big dreams, so I snap. Want some platinum, let's go. Yeah, we gon' keep on working till we make it out these trenches. We ain't got no handouts, just had to go and get it. As long as I'm breathing, I'ma make sure we keep eating. Lost a lot up in these streets, and I don't need another reason. Yeah, we gon' keep on working till we make it out these trenches. We ain't got no handouts, just had to go and get it. As long as I'm breathing, I'ma make sure we keep eating. Lost a lot up in these streets, and I don't need another reason. So as you got to see, those are some clips of me traveling and living the life of my dreams and telling my story to the world. And then I came back and started buying up the block and buying property and finding investors to help me revive the same neighborhood that I fought to make it out of. And now I'm inspiring so many people in my local community. So we about to celebrate now, y'all, because we just getting started. Let's go. The mayor of Detroit supported me and came on and said I'm doing a good thing. And people all around the world starting to watch it. Can I get this volume up louder? Here we go. Yeah. This song is called By the Block, because that's what we're doing. Here we go. Yeah, let's go, let's go. I'll drop it back and go get it. Pop the block and ain't no pretending. Yeah, I'll drop it back and go get it. Pop the block and ain't no pretending. Yeah, two-tone protect up on my wrist, can't flex like this. I got juice, steady flexing, girls see me, they break, they mess. Yeah. Cuban link it glitz, flood my neck and flood my wrist. I'm moving in those niggas every time I'm in the strip. And she staring at her wrist, so what I remember blew a kiss. I got fans, now they sick. Jump in the whip and I spread out real quick. I can really throw my hood up. I'm trying to buy the block so I can own it up. Homeboy keep trying to act tough. I can't take him serious with that haircut and corporate meters with that drip on. I'm trying to rep my city cause it's slept on. All E and I'ma take the money, then stretch it like it was stepped on. Stand on the roof and I'm lit. I don't need to dance to get the kit. I'm the chosen one to get the fit. Ayy, took all of those off the whip. Ayy, I just got a pro, she looking stiff. Hand on the pole like I'm a bitch. I'm up through the city. I got the squad with me. I just tired to looking. That was, yeah. I'll drop it back and go get it. Pop the block and ain't nothing pretending. Hey, I'll drop it back and go get it. Pop the block and ain't nothing I see you, yeah, too. So protect up on my wrist. Can't flex like this. I got juice, steady flexing. Hey, sing with me. Hey, hey. I'll drop it back and go get it. Pop the block and ain't nothing pretending. Yeah, I'll drop it back and go get it. Pop the block and ain't nothing pretending. Look, two-tone protect up on my wrist. Can't flex like this. I got juice, steady flexing. Girls see me, they break their necks. Yeah, I drop it back and go get it. Pop the block and ain't nothing pretending, yeah. I drop it back, go get it. Pop the block and ain't no pretending, yeah. Two-tone protect up on my wrist, can't flex like this. Pop the block, Detroit, they already know we starting this, yeah.
Okay, I'll add it. Okay.
Trey has completed the hat trick. He's been in every set. How cool is that? It's Hockey Town, baby. You know, you're probably sick of seeing me at this point, but to make this day happen, there's a huge team of volunteers. We have dozens of volunteers that come in day of, but there are a dozen people who work almost year round to make this happen. And I'd really like you to meet them. I'd really like you to meet them now.
Oh, please welcome Nick Donardis, Executive Producer, Technical Director. Terry Bean, Executive Producer, Community Director. Anu Gopalkrishnan, Executive Producer, TEDx Labs Curator.
G is in the house.
Shannon Tucker, Stage Manager. Julie Barnes-Maurer, Volunteer Coordinator. Anthony Strickland, Media Relations Director. Yara Shada, volunteer co-director. Sean Lee, rock that. Ciandra Brown, social media director. Stephanie Styron Bean, program director. Michael Scarmadella, director. And I'm Christopher Johnson.
TEDx doesn't happen without the efforts of these guys. They just, oh, we're doing photos now.
There's one more.
Nick.
And Coco.
We're done now. We're done now. Okay. Shut it.
Okay.
Now we can't start again until everyone gets back to their position. So I'm supposed to entertain, pretend I'm AI, and I'm thinking. I'm listening. And Trey wins again. All right. Let's get back to the show.
Please welcome Denisha Beasley, CR3's Restorative Services.
One day, you're going to thank me. Those were her exact words. Her voice was steeped in confidence and conviction. She was making direct eye contact with me, and it felt like she could look through my soul, as if she could prophetically predict my future. It was 2002. I was about 16 years old, and I was being a rebellious teenager. My friends and I decided to throw a spontaneous house party without our parents' permission. I truly believe we felt we were invincible. You see, my friend's mother was upstairs sleeping, but we weren't worried about her because she could sleep through anything. And my mom, well, it was dark. She didn't drive. She didn't have a car, and we didn't have cell phones. So we really felt like there was no way we would get caught. Except we did. Driven by what I can only describe as maternal radar, my mother literally walked the late night streets of Detroit's east side until she found me. Then she burst through the door like a one-woman SWAT team and snatched not just me, but a few of my friends out of the party. You see, my mother was the neighborhood watch all by herself. Now, if you look at this picture of my mother, she looks adorable, innocent, harmless even. She stands about 4'11". She has long blue hair, and she barely tips the scale at 100 pounds. But don't let that fool you. We were all very afraid of her. Imagine a single mother walking the streets of Detroit, snatching kids out of the jaws of bad decisions, and then delivering them to their parents' front doorstep. Behind her back, some of the kids would call her the warden. And to me, the name felt fitting, given how her strictness often limited my freedom, making me feel like a prisoner. And I absolutely hated it. And this caused us to fight. And when I say we fought, I mean, we fought. Now, I'm not proud of that. I'm just being honest. As I reflect, I realized I was fighting for my freedom. She was fighting for my future, but this caused us to have a very tumultuous relationship. Through our years of fighting, I've learned something. You can win the fight, but lose the relationship. Every fight, every argument was pushing us further apart, and we were losing each other. Now, let's fast forward to 2019. It's midnight, and I'm walking the streets of South Los Angeles, scouring what we call the tracks, in search of women and children who are victims of sex trafficking. In my anti-trafficking work, people have asked me, why do something so dangerous, especially as a single woman? The answer is simple. It's love. A love that's fueled by the deep-seated desire to protect the vulnerable, to protect them, to shield them from evil, harm, and danger. The same love that drove my mother to walk the dark streets of Detroit searching for me now channels through me. Life truly has a sense of humor, doesn't it? One of the survivors of sex trafficking that I work closely with said something that really hit home for me. She said, I wish someone had looked for me. She was missing and trafficked at the age of 14, a baby. And she said no one searched for her, not one. I now realize with my mom, it wasn't about control. It was about love, a protective love that's willing to risk it all for the sake of someone's freedom and their future. Having someone like my mom in my life kept me safe. And there's research that backs this up. Research actually shows when young people have close relationships with a caring adult, it can protect them from engaging in high-risk behaviors, help them perform better in school, and have high self-esteem. Studies also show that when children have strong parent connections, they're less likely to engage in risky sexual behaviors. There's even a study that shows when girls have conversations with their mom about topics like sex, it makes a huge difference. And I'm thankful for my mother. When people look at us on social media, making viral TikTok videos, traveling and having fun, they would never know how broken our relationship was. And I'm here to tell you how we fixed it. Poor communication was a major factor in our strained relationship. Thankfully, in my work as a clinical social worker and as someone who's trained in restorative practices, I've picked up some tools along the way that has helped me and my mom restore our relationship. Today, I'm going to share with you one restorative communication strategy that really helped us. Before we engage in any challenging conversation, we start with conversation agreement. This is where we agree to take accountability for our mistakes. We agree to listen from the heart, speak from the heart, and let go of stories that make it hard to hear one another. We also must agree to respect the talking piece. Does anyone know what the talking piece is? If you don't know what the talking piece is, no worries, I'm going to show you. Have someone here helping me? Thank you so much. This is the talking piece. If you want to do this at home, you can actually use any object. The rules are simple. The person who has the talking piece is the only one who can speak. The other person must listen attentively without interrupting. Once the person who has the talking piece has completed their thought, you switch. Today, I actually want to provide a live demonstration of how to use the talking piece in a conversation. I have a special guest who's going to join me on stage to help me. Will you all do me a favor and please extend a warm welcome to the woman who snatched me up and saved my life, my mom. Isn't she adorable? All right. You know how this works, right? So
Yes, I
I
do.
have the talking piece, so that means that you have to what?
I have to listen.
All right. All right. So I know that a lot of times you always call our relationship complicated. And I want to just take a moment to acknowledge that I have not always, throughout our years of fighting, been the best daughter. And I have not always appreciated the way that you have loved and protected me, even when I didn't want to be protected. You used to say, "One day you're going to thank me," and I thought that was cruel because I was, I would think to myself, I'm never going to thank her. Why would I thank her for ruining my fun and ruining my life? But they say never. So today, I just want to publicly thank you for loving me through my rebellion, when times were hard, when I didn't love you back.
Don't make me cry. I'm sorry.
I want to thank you for risking your life at times to save mine. And I want to thank you for being my one. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank
You
you.
got
all.
me again. I love y'all. Thanks. Oh my God. So shy.
Please welcome the Chief People Strategist for Timawo, Tina Marie Wofield.
Hello, friends. My name is Tina Marie, and I am in the people business. I have the greatest gift to serve organizations to help the people within it be successful. If you've been anywhere or under a rock, you've probably heard people say there's a talent shortage. Where have all the workers gone? They don't know how to work. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to engage, solve problems. And they view this as a challenge. But friends, the workers have been there all along, and we need to rethink how we engage the future of the workforce today. When we look at it, at least when I look at things, I look at it as a solution rather than a problem. So is it us? Are we doing things wrong? Is it how we're asking questions in an interview, or how we put people in a box and have all these assumptions, and we focus more on the outcomes versus on the journey that got there? It is up to us as organizations to be part of the solution and find ways that we can fill the gaps and where we have all these things that we deem our workers are missing. It's like peeling the onion. We are all, as humans, inherently curious. We began our lives curious. We ask a lot of questions. And at some point, we stopped leaning into this aspect of curiosity. Curiosity allows us to peel the onion. It allows us to test assumptions. It allows us to kind of get rid of those biases and things that in organizations sometimes we do or have against the people that make our organizations what they are, our humans that work within it. So we need to go back, and if we're saying we're missing all these workforce readiness skills, we need to teach the future of the workforce today how to ask those right questions. Inquiry-based learning is where curiosity thrives. That's where we get to test those assumptions, and we don't stick in the status quo. We get to be innovative. We bring inclusion into the workplace, so we are more open to alternative ideas and perspectives. This is where we need to start engaging the future of workforce today. And I'm talking about our students, those in the K through 12 education system, because friends, they're the ones that'll be entering the workforce. If they haven't already, they're already starting and will be the future of where we engage and innovate and hopefully adapt to be the workforce of 2030. There's a concept called radical curiosity, and it is kind of changed the way I practice human resources, and I learn, lead, and live. And radical curiosity allows us to think that the impossible is possible. So when I have all of these individuals where you read the talent shortage, the talent war, whatever, we're not fighting each other. We need to go to where our workers are. It's not like it used to be where you put out a job post and everybody wants to, they're beating down the doors to work in your company. We need to go to them to get them to want to work for us. So when I look at the future of the workforce today, I view that the impossible is possible, because if we don't teach our students to be inquirers of knowledge, of information, and ask the right questions, we may not be the workplace we want to be in 2030, and we'll be still having the same conversation we're having. So I want to challenge all of you, because experience is the greatest teacher. We all have an ability in the communities we serve, especially here in the Motor City, to be part of that solution. If there are shortages in the workplace, is it nursing? Is it that barista at the coffee shop that I visit every day? We need to let our students see and test drive what that career may look like, because four-year college isn't for everybody. And I can tell you as a mom, my children having $150,000 in debt isn't the way that I want them to start their careers. Do it through apprenticeships. Go to the high schools, offer to be an industry subject matter expert, because in the state of Michigan and many other states, your high school students have to take 1 year of career technical education. Be a mentor, sponsor somebody in a program, allow them to experience the careers and working in your organization. Open up your doors. Why? Because if you get people to come in, not only may they not necessarily be the next hire you have, they might be your next and best customer. And lastly, if you have employees in the workplace, allow them the opportunity to job shadow. Let them test drive what that next opportunity may be without the commitment. I want to introduce you to an amazing educator that's making a difference in our high school and the future workforce of 2030. Her name is Sonia Bazanowski. She's a career technical educator, an amazing teacher at Fraser High School here in Metro Detroit. Sonia saw there was a need for teachers. We all know that there's a teacher shortage, but instead of looking at that shortage as a negative, she embraced this curriculum called Future Teacher, but made it different and unlike. She created observations, the ability for students to observe, listen, lead, and learn. They are in the classroom with mentor teachers. They are seeing the good, the bad, and the ugly about what teaching is. But even if they don't become our future educators, she is helping give them workforce readiness skills that are transferable no matter what career path they take. She didn't just stick in the square. She expanded that to allow her students to learn and succeed. We all need Sonias in all of our high schools. We need more teachers and more of us industry professionals being part of the curriculum, because these are the only way we will change the future of the workforce. And we need to engage them now, not wait until they walk through your doors as a hire. This is Kirk. Kirk is not your typical high school student. Kirk was one of those individuals that said, you know what, I think I want to go into business. But Sonia nudged him to participate in a test drive program that the state of Michigan has for teachers called the Teacher Cadet Program, where they put students in the classroom during summer schools to truly experience teaching and be part of a classroom setting and actually engage and assist students. Halfway through the program last year, Kirk, who was entering junior as a high school, came home one day and said to me, his mother, who works in human resources, Mom, I want to be a teacher. I can see myself doing nothing else in life but this. And because of this experience, it has truly shaped my life. Be that person that opens the eyes and allows students to be curious, because we are open. Be open to those that want to learn about your company, want to learn about working there, and allow them to see, to test drive what it's like. Because wake up. It's time to embrace your curious, because the more you embrace yours and help others to embrace their curious, the better our workplace is. Thank you.
Please welcome House of Jid.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Please welcome Nicholas Rambus, founder and CEO of Hush.
That's a hard act to follow. I spent the last decade spying on you and your families and really everyone in here. Creepy, right? Yeah. It was all legal, it was all ethical, but it didn't feel right.
Subscription trees.
But I'll tell you what I learned along that journey. We are all open books. Whatever illusion we have about our own privacy doesn't exist. Now, in these companies I looked after and ran, pulling information and collating and the rest, we're really good at finding almost anything about anybody. And that made us a target. It made me a target. And when I had organized crime, oligarchs, foreign intelligence coming after me, I realized just how vulnerable I was, my family was. And that's when I knew I had to switch sides. I had to try to solve this problem instead of being part of it. What I didn't know when I started to get into the problem was just how big it is. The cost of cybercrime, the cost of us not having privacy is bigger than the entire illicit drug trade. It's massive. And it's that way by design. The internet was built to share information easily about all of us, quickly. And that was great 30 years ago. But now, criminality has moved online. Extortion, fraud, harassment, they've just transferred. We have new names for them. Cyber stalking, social engineering, right? Identity theft. Take identity theft. Most of us have heard about it, maybe know someone who's been affected. It's the fastest growing crime in the US right now. Not fastest growing cyber crime, fastest growing crime. A third of us in this room will have our identity stolen at some point in our life. And all because we don't have privacy. Our private data is not private. Anyone here been on vacation recently? Taking a picture? Hey, we're having a great time on holiday. Here's where we are, right? We'll be back soon. 4 out of 5 burglars today use the internet to search and find their targets and track them before acting. 4 out of 5. Again, the cost of us not having privacy. Online harassment has turned into a mental health epidemic. 2/3 of young adults are harassed online. 1/5 of young women are sexually harassed online. And it's only getting worse. When you think about what those comments can include when someone knows where she lives, where her kids go to school, or where she works out at 6 in the morning, it takes on an entirely different tact. Add all of that together, and that's scary enough, I realize. But add to that the hacks. Think about pipelines, schools, hospitals, businesses. All the ones you read about, almost all of them are driven by the same thing, social engineering, which is just code for an online con scheme. Someone finds an employee at the organization, and they do what they do. They research their mark. They find out everything they can about them, and they get that employee to inadvertently do something that they shouldn't. And then they're in. Billions of dollars lost a year there because, again, we don't have privacy. Now, where is AI going to take this? AI is great in so many other ways. But one of the big problems with AI is it amplifies and accelerates our activities, our human behavior. And so I'll give you a case of where AI is not working. So imagine being this mom, getting a phone call from your daughter, tears, screaming, "I've been kidnapped." Oh my gosh, right? Imagine that daughter handing the phone to the kidnappers who are saying, "You've got 24 hours to transfer $1 million into a crypto account or your daughter will be killed. And if you even think about going to the police, she'll be killed immediately." The end. That actually happened. The mother contacted police. Turns out it was a hoax. Someone had used AI to create that whole script using no more than a laptop and $20 worth of software. Unfortunately, while AI is great in so many other ways, it's only going to amplify the challenges we have keeping our private information private in this day and age. So this sounds pretty rough. What are we going to do, right? Is government going to come to the rescue? Trying, right? 11 states now have data privacy protection laws in the books. But one thing I think we all know is that certainly technology moves way faster than government can keep up. And sure, prosecutors are doing what they do. They're finding the criminals. The regulators are making fines. And you'll see some record numbers out there. There have been $1 billion of fines levied so far. But it's a drop in the bucket. It's less than 1/3 of 1% of the overall economic impact. And it's not going to change behavior. So what do? The issue is, it's up to us. We're going to have to be the ones who change, all of us. There are 2,500 data brokers in the US who traffic in our information, right? Sell between each other, other companies. You can reach out to any one of them and demand your information be deleted, and they will. And there are tons of services that will do this online for you quickly and easily. We've got to start thinking differently about our own privacy. Social media. When was the last time you looked at the privacy settings on Insta or Facebook? It's probably been a while, right? Every year, police officers do a public service announcement saying, please don't put all this information about your kid who's going to school online. And a lot of folks say, well, what's the big deal, right? Really? So my kid's 6, right? Their teacher, what they're into, hockey and ice cream, not a big deal. They're not even online, right? But you got to think differently about privacy. Riley has an older sister, a teenager, who's online, and she is a target by a criminal. When that person finds out she's got a younger sister and says, I know where your sister goes to school. I know which grade she's in. I know where she has hockey practice, and I know she likes cherry ice cream. Unless you send me a nude photograph, I'm going to kidnap your little sister. Oh, this is very different. We've got to think differently about privacy. And it starts with awareness. When was the last time you Googled yourself to see what was out there, and gone past page 1, by the way, to see what's really there? That's the change we've got to make in the journey we're on. For all of technology's benefits, we're in a digital adolescence. There's a lot that's got to change and a lot that has to evolve. As we think about some of the biggest problems we face right now as a society and as individuals, privacy is the antidote. And I leave that antidote with you. Thank you.
Please welcome Paul Chambers, father, firefighter, entrepreneur.
It's the end of my first week of college, and I am riding high on my newfound independence. I'm off on my own for the first time, and it's an unreal feeling. I even stocked a little bit of beer in my dorm room mini fridge, sort of my rebel moment, if you will. We're heading into the long weekend, and I'm looking forward to picking up my girlfriend, hitting the road, and heading up north. My mom even calls me to check in and find out what time I'm going to get there. I don't think anything of it. I'm just kind of mad she's burning my valuable cell phone minutes. All I can think about is hitting the lake, jumping on the wave runner, and spending time with my girlfriend. We finally arrive, we're unpacking the car, and my mom has a tone and a look to her when you can tell when something's off. I think back to that phone call. She stops me in the kitchen. Paul, I don't know how to tell you this, but your dad died in a plane crash last night. My father wasn't a small obituary kind of guy either. He was an entrepreneur, a surgeon, a world-renowned expert in his field. He had 16 offices that span globally. He's runs with celebrities, professional sports athletes, kings, heads of state. He's even on Geraldo, Phil Donahue, and Oprah. But in the 48 hours that followed his death, I learned how quickly things can change. He's a successful entrepreneur and a surgeon, yet he had no will. No plan for how his business would continue in his absence. So here I am, this bright-eyed college kid kicking off my career at Michigan State, and I'm thrust into a truly unimaginable situation. One where an extended family can't find a way to run a business together and instead tear it apart. The business my father had spent his whole life building was lost and gone forever. It took me a while to realize what really impacted me and how that ordeal really changed me. And it sucks. It was a massive missed opportunity. One where a family couldn't come together to build a business together, to honor him, to honor his legacy, and continue to run it. But instead, get torn apart. Now that ordeal changed me, and it changed the way that I started to feel. But over time, I began to move into my past. And I began building my own businesses and my career as an entrepreneur. But as my enterprise grew, I continued to have this unsettled feeling in the back of my mind and truly a hole in my heart. What if our family had come together to rebuild that and to find a way to positively do things together? Now, that unsettled feeling I began to come up with a little bit of a name for it. Started jokingly referring to it as a bit of a disease because it was always with me, always there. It sounded like something out of a TV commercial. If you suffer from headaches, chronic fatigue, sleepless nights, and anxiousness, you might have ENS. Entrepreneur never satisfied. ENS is the force that makes it so we're never happy. No matter what we do, no matter how much we accomplish, no matter how much we achieve, it's never enough. Now, I know that's not a way that you can really live and be. And I know that sometimes it's a force that consumes us. It's thoughts of inadequacy, it's moments of disappointment, times of sadness. Heck, you might even be feeling that here today. Here's some from amazing speakers on this stage with amazing accomplishments and thinking to yourself, why can't I be where they're at in their career, their profession, their life? I'm wondering how you're going to get there. But one day, I woke up and I knew I needed to make a change. My back was against the wall, and I didn't want to feel that way anymore. Feel that negative energy in my life, no matter what I accomplished, I just wasn't enough. And so I began investing in a different way. I began to look at it in a positive light. What if instead, those around me, I supported them? When I saw success of another person, I would raise them up. I would call them, I'd text them, say, congratulations, that's awesome. What if instead when I missed a goal, I wouldn't beat myself up over it. I would take the things that I did really well, and I would learn from those things, and I would push forward harder towards the next goal. It's not easy by any means. It takes a lot of strength, perseverance, and a fundamental shift in behavior. It's an investment, not a financial one, but an investment of positivity in people, in situations, and in yourself. Let me give you a final example. On my nights, weekends, and a lot of daytimes as well, I'm a volunteer firefighter in Troy, Michigan. I love being a firefighter. It allows me to translate my entrepreneurial skills of rapid decision-making in high-pressure environments and running into crazy, disastrous situations into giving back to my community. And I get to drive a fire truck, put out fires, save a cat every once in a while, and put on my hero cape and feel really good about the things that I'm doing. I miss a fire run. That's my family. We tend to do a lot of dinners in Troy. And sometimes when I'm out, I miss that big fire. And man, that's tough. I struggle. But I turn the channel and take that medicine for
Barb says so, okay? You are allowed to grow. Don't ever let people make you feel like because you started here, you have to stay here. I don't care if I changed my mind 4 minutes ago. Who I am right now, that's what matters. And you can't allow people to keep you in those type of bags. So for instance, I grew up in Detroit on Joy Road, humble beginnings. I grew up drinking, smoking cigarettes. I was fighting, all those type of things. And I was still able to go to college, get me a bachelor's degree from an elite HBCU and an MBA because I allowed myself to grow. And one thing that you'll know about growing, the day you plant the seed is not the day that you eat the fruit. So growth is ongoing. Don't ever feel like, oh, they think I'm fake. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, that's what we use these days. It's not that. It's called growth. And remember, T-Barb saying so, okay? Now, when you're growing, okay, what I've learned is that it feels like you're always in the middle. I know it's some people that can relate with me on that, meaning that you come out of this space, so the people that you were around before, they may not accept you. And sometimes you feel like the people that are in the place where you're trying to go, they don't quite get you. So it's almost like monkey in the middle. You almost feel left out, okay? Feeling out of place in every space. But I'm here to tell you, the middle is the best part of the oatmeal pie. Anybody know about that? It's just me to eat. I'm greedy, sorry. I'm gonna be using some food because I'm hungry right now. But that's the best part. And the reason I say that's the best part is because sometimes you need that character, okay? You need that space of feeling uncomfortable. You need that. That's how you grow. If you notice in life, anytime that you grow, it usually starts off uncomfortable. You grow into that comfort. And I want to champion somebody out there that's like me, that I'm living a life that I never knew anything about. Okay, I learned this. I developed this on my own, and I was always in the middle, but I still allowed myself to grow. Okay, it should be understood that you will be misunderstood. Okay, I'm gonna say that one more time. It should be understood that you will be misunderstood because anytime that you are doing something great, something new, something innovative, it's never been done before. So apply that to yourself. The version of who you are or who you are becoming, you've never been that person, right? So you're learning that. So sometimes you may misunderstand yourself. I know I'll be waking up like, am I crazy? But that's just a part of me understanding that I'm still growing and giving myself grace, okay? That's something that we often don't do. As you're growing, like I went from hood rat, right, to comedian. I had to give myself grace, meaning that the mistakes that I made, I couldn't hold them against me. Sometimes we walk around and we're more mad at ourselves or holding things against ourselves that we need to let go. Okay, give yourself some grace. The same grace that you give other people when you say, that's okay, that's just a mistake. Say that to yourself, okay? And even if it's hard, practice it. Practice makes perfect, okay? It is okay to be kind to yourself on this journey of life, okay? Because everybody else gonna be mean, ain't they? I'm like, all right. And then here's a popular saying you hear all the time: YOLO. For my white friends, that means you only live once. Okay, Drake. Um, and what I mean about that is don't regret anything. There are a lot of mistakes. There are things that are going to happen in life. Take those things as lessons. Okay, you're only living once. Go out there and try what it is that you want. When I was growing up in the hood on Joy Road, none of my friends had ever went to college. I had a multitude of friends that actually even went to prison when I was in middle school. Okay, I was the only one that went to school every day, smoking and drinking. It was just something in me that said I wanted to do this, even though that was outside of my norm. Okay, I said I'm going to do what I want to do for me, and I changed my environment. I went to college by myself, y'all. I caught a Greyhound bus by myself from Detroit to Memphis, and then I got a ride from Memphis to New Orleans. I had never been to New Orleans before. It was my first time in college. I was the only person there by myself, the only person there by myself, okay? And I made it. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't regret it. It was a lot of mistakes that I made, but guess what? I gave myself the grace and I said, you know what? It doesn't matter where I came from. I don't have to stay where I start, right? I want everyone here to know that your existence will make a way for you if you believe. Okay? What I mean by that is not somebody else believing. I'm talking about you. And that comes with intentional practice. Okay? So coming from where I come from, I never believed that I could be a comedian. I was a social worker for 14 years. I did protective services, adult protective services. This is after my mother was raised in foster care. So I went to work in foster care because I saw that if she would have had a good social worker, I felt like things would have turned out better for her. She wouldn't have went to prison, all those things. So I gave back to my community in that way. Who knew that coming from a home with incarcerated parents, where I would have been the third generation of incarceration, both of my grandparents had been incarcerated and both of my parents, I still went to college. You know why? Because I believed it for me. And when you believe in yourself, I mean, like really believe in yourself. And there's somebody in here who's going to say, oh, how do you do that? Fake it till you make it, okay? Just like, you know, I be putting my little weave on. That's what I be doing. Because I'm faking it right now. I'm nervous in a mug, but I'm feeling good, right? I'm like, hey, got my little shoes on. You see? But I allowed that to allow me to become an author. A vegan cookbook I have called the Hood Rat Kitchen, my nonprofit where we give back to youth. We feed the homeless every year. I have a hot dog cart I've had for 19 years. First generation business owner, first generation college graduate. I have an MBA from the University of Detroit Mercy, first generation. Okay. I quit all that just to make y'all laugh. So I'm still tripping. So I don't have to stay where I start. And I want to encourage you all, don't stay where you start. Why? Because T-Barb said so. Thank you so much, TED Talk. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you.
Please welcome joy coach, speaker, best-selling author, Robin Shear.
There goes my belt. You have no idea how long I've wanted to be on this red dot with you. Woo! This is a mountaintop moment, and I am feeling the joy. And it's easy, right? It's natural to feel joy in our mountaintop moments. It can be a little more challenging in the valleys of life. And so I want to ask you a question. Do you know how to choose joy then when life sucks? We see it everywhere, right? Choose joy. If only it were that easy. And yet there are steps, there are things we can do. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it starts with another question. And this is the one that gets us into the most trouble. Do you believe that it's possible? Like, if you're going to eat a piece of pizza, do you believe that it's possible that that thing will fill you up and taste good? If you don't believe that it's going to do something for you, there's no point in eating it at all. Joy is very much the same way. You have to believe that it's possible and that you deserve it. So we're going to start right there. Why are we going there? Because I'm a joy coach and I want you to have what I believe you deserve to have. And the easiest way to do it, I have a very scientific, very highfalutin academic method, and it goes like this. When you are struggling to find joy, when you don't know if you believe that you deserve it or that it's possible, it's all about self-talk. And your job is to take one look in the mirror and really frame it up and say this phrase. Hey, good looking, you deserve joy. Your turn, ready? Say it with me. Hey, good looking, you deserve joy. That's right. Does it feel better? You might have to practice it a little bit. Okay, a lot. Do it. Keep it up. Keep it up. You're worth it. Whatever it takes. Continue to say that until you mean it. We are so good about encouraging other people to have joy. We struggle to find it for ourselves because so often what we settle for is happiness. Our culture tells us to go after happiness. Well, I'm here to tell you, I love you too much to leave you there. You deserve more. Joy is different than happiness because it's lasting. It's richer. It's deeper. You can cultivate it. It's like an inner effervescence for life itself. Happiness is cool. It makes me feel really great. But when the circumstances that caused it go away, what happens to my happiness? There it goes. You deserve joy. Do not settle for happiness. Do not settle. Now, the best way to just really dig deep is to think about what are the things that just make you feel most alive? What are the things that you can rely on even when life sucks? Even when you get a diagnosis that you didn't want, when you find out that your spouse is going to file for divorce, what are the things you can still rely on? What are the things that bring actual joy to you? My thought is if you know what those things are before life sucks, you can turn to them and let them work for you. So put together a list, a joy bucket list of sorts. I have a few ideas of what might go into your joy bucket. Everybody's is different, but maybe relationships. You know, you might really just come to life with certain people more than anyone else. Make time for those people. Put that on your joy bucket list. Or what about digging into nature, like just really getting lost in the wonder of the colors in the sky over the water, the purples and the pinks and the oranges. The joy. Or what about digging into purpose? You know, a pandemic can roll through and your purpose isn't going anywhere. That is something that just feels amazing. When you know that you're living out your calling, it will fill you up with joy. And the whole idea here is for your joy to overflow. We need it. The world around you needs it desperately. And don't worry about giving it away and not having it, because it's like a fish and loaves kind of thing. It's going to multiply. Fill it up, overflow, and share it with the world in need, because the truth is, life's not perfect for any of us. Not for any of us. It doesn't matter what you see on social media. I don't care how wonderful those vacation photos are. You can bet that every human that crosses your path has a story. And I am living proof. You know, here I am, traveling all around the place, speaking about joy, helping audiences of depleted givers have joy, writing about it, coaching about it, all the while privately hiding so much pain from the world. My life was in a very sucky place just a few years ago. Within a short period of time, I was dealing with a chronic pain condition. If you've had chronic pain, you know how that can suck joy right out of life. I tried 26 distinct treatments to get rid of that. I had a head injury from a ski trip with my family. It took 21 times longer to heal than the doctors said it would. Joy was really challenging. I had to apply all of my same advice back into my own life. And at the same time, I had a gut health condition. And they put me on this detox cleanse, you guys. It was so strong. I was legitimately psychotic and suicidal at the same time. And I had to give up so many of my favorite foods. I had to give up macaroni and cheese. I mean, if you're talking about robbing life of joy, you pull out the mac and cheese, it's all over, right? But at the same time, I was in treatment for something that took place many years earlier. And when I got the call about coming here today to have this time with you, I knew that that was the story that I needed to share. And it's not fun and it's not pretty. In fact, it's downright messy. But because joy was found in it, I hope that you feel hope as I share this story with you. This story took place in another century, back in the land of mall bangs and mullets and This was the one that I was rocking in 8th grade. That is a huge mullet. Oh my gosh. And I was a cheerleader, not a big shock, probably, and loved it. And I was hanging out after school one day with my girlfriends, and we were in a kind of isolated part of the building, and we were just being girls. And a group of boys just came running at us, full force like boys do. And these were boys we had known our whole life. I mean, our town has one flashing yellow light. And so we knew them, and we took off running. We grabbed our bags. We were out of there. And my friends ran really fast. And I was traumatized that day. And I will not go into detail with great respect to anyone who has experienced trauma, but I will say that with a power that was not my own, I got the hell out of there unharmed physically. But the emotional pain stuck around for years. And I hid that. I buried it deep. Had to go to school every day, pretending life was fine. Life was joyful. And way later, as a young mom, I started having nightmares. And it was like this constant man in my room that I was afraid of at night. And I didn't know if I was safe, and I didn't know if it was real. And I'd flip the lights on and I'd shake and scream, and people would hear it on the other side of the house. And eventually I got help, because I might be the only joy coach you've ever met with PTSD. And I got therapy in the form of EMDR, that stands for eye movement, desensitization, and reprocessing. If you have experienced trauma of any kind, look it up. This helped me to heal. But healing and joy came from somewhere else. Healing and joy came from my faith. Because I grew up knowing that I was loved and cherished and protected and worthy. I was a child of the King, and I did not deserve that. And here's a fun fact. This is where the joy comes in. My attackers were in that same category. Loved, cherished, protected, didn't deserve pain. And you know what? We all need forgiveness. And when I knew that it was time to forgive my attackers, it wasn't something I had to do. It was something I wanted to do. I was excited about it. And in a moment of prayer, after 21 years of night terrors from one event, I let it go. And you guys, I felt joy like I had never known. I didn't know what I was missing. And this is what I want for you to have. So, if you're going to dig in and your life sucks too, think about what joy is. Don't settle for happiness. Make sure that you know that you deserve it. Think about the things that fill you up. And don't forget about the power of forgiveness. There's joy in it, my friends. There's joy in it. And we are going to celebrate when you get to that point and you have forgiven somebody or yourself. We will celebrate the joy that you find. In fact, we're going to celebrate right now. We have a little party for you. So what I want you to do is hop up on your feet. Everybody get up. You've been sitting down all day long. Let's go. You thought that you were here for TEDxDetroit. You're actually here for the TEDxDetroit 15th anniversary cheer team tryouts, my friends. That's right. So you can put your hands on your hips and be sassy or strong. And I want you to repeat after me. Give me a T. Give me an A. Give me a D. Give me an X Detroit. What you got? One more time. Hit your knees. Good. TEDx Detroit. You made the squad. Go and choose joy when life sucks. Thank you so much.
Next is going to be Sing Mike. Please welcome Detroit's own G-Mac Cash.
How y'all doing today? TEDxDetroit, how y'all doing today? Y'all gotta make some noise. Y'all gotta act like I'm here, you know? Okay, there we go. That's what I'm talking about. Man, y'all look good today. I'm glad I'm here. I'm ready for the Lions game, you know, but I'm here too. I'm here. Y'all ready for them Lions? Y'all think we gonna do it today? All right, we better. That's what I'm talking about. So look, y'all know about the Giant slide? Y'all hip to the Giant slide? Y'all don't know about the Giant slide? Oh man, so listen, I need a little crowd participation here today. So I need y'all to pick it up a little bit if y'all ain't been picking it up. So I'm gonna say a sentence and y'all gonna say on the Giant slide, okay? That's cool? Okay. So I'm gonna say like, you can break your neck on the Giant slide. That's what y'all gonna say, okay? So you can break your neck. You can even bump your head. You can even break your leg. Man, watch your hands and your legs. Okay, so we kind of got it. I'm gonna tell my DJ, go ahead. Hey, DJ. Oh yeah, that's the one right there. So y'all gonna say it with on the Giant slide. It's y'all part on the Giant slide. On the Giant slide. Hey, you can break your back.
Giant slide.
You can even break your neck.
On the Giant slide.
You can even bump your head.
On the Giant slide.
Watch your hands and your legs.
On the Giant slide.
It's like jumping off a roof.
On the Giant slide.
Man, you can lose a tooth.
On the Giant slide.
It ain't much you can do.
On the Giant slide.
What's going on with the new?
On the Giant slide.
Okay. I like that participation, you know. So yeah, like I was saying though, you know, how many of y'all got bills? Everybody in here should make some noise because y'all got bills. So it's like when you pay the bill, you think you free, then as soon as the next month come around, knocking on the door like, yeah, time to pay the other bill again. So yeah, so we got the bills going, and I got a song about bills. I don't know if y'all heard it. I don't know if y'all hip to who I am, but I do a song about everything relatable to life. So DJ, let's drop that. Hey, y'all gonna say I got bills. I ain't about to go out.
I got bills.
I'm gonna let y'all show out.
I got bills.
Trying to spend okay.
I got bills.
I'm trying to make this money last.
I got bills.
I ain't about to go.
I got bills.
I'm gonna let y'all show out.
I got bills. Come on.
I ain't trying to spend okay.
I got bills.
I'm trying to make this money last.
I got bills.
Every time I turn around, man, the rent do. You feel me? So listen, then we got the Lions coming up, man. The game is today. How many of y'all watching the game? Yeah, so every time they win, I got this song called Lions Won Again. So every time they win, they play this song like, you know, the Lions won again. You feel me? So we about to turn up, man. We about to bless the Lions before the game so we can help them win. Oh, you taking a picture of me? All right, you got to make sure. Y'all look good today, man. How many of y'all know who I am? Y'all know who I am? Y'all love G-Mac? Okay, make some noise if G-Mac put on for Detroit. Just make some noise about everything I do be for Detroit. That's what I'm saying. I put on for Detroit. And I love y'all. They got me at TED Talk Detroit, man. It's only right to have G-Mac here, man, you know? I love y'all. Y'all look good. I wish I could sit up there with y'all. But let's turn up for the Lions one time, man. Because, you know, the Lions won again. Yeah. Hey. You know, the Lions won again. You know, the Lions won again. You know, the Lions won again. Why? Because all we do is win. You know, the Lions won again. You know, the Lions won again. Y'all can say it too. You know, the Lions won again. Because all we do is win. Best team out the whole NFL. If we win, I'm going to need my tickets in the mail. All we do is win. We ain't taking L. Man, shut up. After this game, we about to just turn up. Paul Hutch, we need the whole team buffed up. We just won another game. They know what's up. We about to win another game. They can't touch us. The last game, man, we won with a blowout. You see what happens when the Lions really showed out? Follow the whole city up. We about to go out. We about to have them bars jumping like it's cold out. Why? Because the Lions won again. Why? Why? Because all we do is win. Why? Because the Lions. Why? Why? Hey, because all we do is win. I'm G-Mac, man. Y'all make the loudest noise ever y'all can make in the world. You feel me? Okay. That's a G-Mac, yeah. I love y'all, Detroit. I'm G-Mac. Make sure y'all follow me on everything at G-Mac Cash. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. The Lions won again.
Please welcome author and speaker, Dr. Eddie Connor.
I want you to close your eyes and imagine someone who knew that you were fighting for your life walked up to you and said these words, "I thought you died." Shocking, right? Disturbing and totally insensitive, so much so that you popped open your eyes. Well, those are the exact same words that a guy said to me some years ago. And for lack of a better word, I was furious. Listen, y'all, I was so angry. I was getting ready to have a Will Smith, Chris Rock moment. And I wasn't going to be Chris. Can I keep it 100? We were in Detroit and I expected him to at least say, "What up, though?" Nah, I didn't even get that. His words produced the same pain in my chest when I was struggling to breathe as a teenager, ultimately being diagnosed with NHL. Now, I got to be honest. For me, NHL stood for National Hockey League. I said, I'm getting ready to be the youngest owner of a National Hockey League team. Go Red Wings. But unfortunately, NHL stood for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. That's right. Stage 4 cancer. Yes, cancer made me cry, but it did not make me quit. Listen, if we were watching the movie The Color Purple on a screen in here, I'd tell you, just like Sophia, all my life, I had to fight. Do I have any fighters in here? You fought through the storm. You fought through the rain. You fought through the trials of the pain. You don't look like what you've been through. Look around you. You're not the only one. Open your eyes to what our young people are struggling to fight through on a daily basis. I know we criticize and demonize them for their sagging pants, but they're coming from sagging homes, sagging communities, sagging schools, sagging self-perception. But if you pull up the home, if you pull up the community, if we pull up the school, if we pull up their sagging self-perception, I'm a living witness they will pull up their pants. Listen, I don't want you to close your eyes to the reality of the pandemic of illiteracy affecting Black boys in America. Behind every fact is a face, behind every statistic is a story. And only 10% of Black boys in the 8th grade are proficient in reading. 50 million Americans, get this, 50 million Americans cannot read past the 4th grade level, with the group adversely affected the most being African American males. There is a direct link. There is an interconnection between illiteracy and incarceration, as Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu conveys in his books, that prisons are built on 2nd and 3rd grade reading scores. Sadly, 47% of Metro Detroiters are reportedly functionally illiterate. Now, my favorite 2 classes in school were gym and lunch. This photo is a pretty accurate depiction of me in school. One of the very few times I was actually doing work in class, and my grades were indicative of that. I ultimately became a high school teacher. Make that make sense. But in my classroom, whenever it was time to drop everything and read, almost every boy's head dropped on the desk as their book became the most comfortable pillow. And so I thought to myself, why is it that when boys open books, they close their eyes? And I soon discovered that many teachers and schools do not provide culturally relevant reading material to where our children see themselves reflected in the books that they read. Walter Dean Myers, an author of more than 100 books, said this, that books transmit values. If I'm not in the book, what does that say about my value? So it's easy for me to close my eyes if the book doesn't speak to my value, my community, and my identity. It's easy for me to close my eyes if the book does not connect to who I am, where I am, and where I want to be. My plight, my promise, and my purpose. And this is why I developed the mentoring and literacy program, Boys to Books, designed to empower young males through literacy, leadership, and life skills enrichment. Essentially, leaders are readers. Oh, we have a plethora of mentoring programs, but mentoring without literacy and enrichment is more of a liability than an asset. We must understand that literacy is about more than just reading words. It's about relating to the world around you. And that's why all of us must work together. We must work together to change the narrative, to shift our classrooms, our culture, and our communities in crisis. Why? So our young men won't go to jail, but Cornell and Yale. Not prison, but Princeton. Not a prison house, but Morehouse. Not 4 years in a correctional facility, but 4 years at a college or a university. We are not stereotypes. We are prototypes. We are not thugs. We are scholars. We are not detriments. We are determined. We are not pariahs and predators. We are providers and protectors. We are not liabilities. We are assets to our communities, our schools, and our universities. Essentially, we are our brother's keeper. And I emphatically believe that if we build strong boys, we won't have to repair broken men. And oftentimes our boys have been broken by broken homes, dilapidated schools, and neglected neighborhoods. The power of mentoring provides an opportunity for me to empower our boys, but also to speak to the boy in me who is searching for value and validation, being raised by a single mother without a father. And the question that our young people are asking is, how do I play a role if I wasn't given a script? Our boys want to know, how do I become a man if I didn't see one, much less interact with one? Yes, I battled stage 4 cancer, but by the grace of God, I was able to find the can in cancer. Not only write 16 books, but show our boys their value in books. We must impress upon our young people that it's not where you start in life, it's what you do with life that determines where you end up in life. The saying goes that boys will be boys. Yes, until someone teaches them to be more. Service is the rent we pay for the space we occupy. The words that we tell our young people and the words that our children read can be a catalyst to change the world. So as I stand before you today, I can also stand in front of that same guy who said those words to me. I thought you died. And I can look at him and tell him, you thought wrong. Because as you can clearly see, I didn't die. I multiplied. Whatever you do, multiply your gifts, multiply your purpose, multiply your vision, multiply your community, multiply and bring unity. And just like TED, which stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design, we must triumph, empower, and dedicate ourselves to something greater than ourselves. Thank you.
Please welcome Humanitarian of the Year, Executive Producer and Photography Director of TEDxDetroit, Sean Lee.
That's funny. I don't know who they shouting for. They act like I'm skinny or something. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my photography team up there. Give them a big round of applause. Very cool. Thank you all for that. I appreciate it. That's the wrong slide, so we need to go to the beginning. Did we bring in all of the slides? Rock that. So listen, before we get started, I want to say this. This is extremely important. Very important to me. You all are here. You have been at TEDx Detroit all day today. Beautiful venue, beautiful stage, top-notch speakers. Those are the best of the best at what they do and in their fields. Did you all enjoy yourselves today? Yes. Rock that. We were good at the beginning. Oh, it's on 15 seconds. So start it at the beginning and then pause it. Rock that and then pause it, please. It's on a 15-second thing, so I timed myself. I do want to say this. We work really, really hard here at TEDx Detroit. We are a nonprofit organization. And people see the presentation and they think that we ball and out of control. And y'all must have it. Can we go back to the beginning and pause it? I appreciate you. And you all think that we got it like that. But we are a nonprofit. We do not make any money. No volunteer here makes any money to put this program on, right? It is a work and labor of love. And I want you all to know that every time we end this, there is no budget. And when we go to venues, we fight tooth and nail to get the budget under control so that we can present high quality content to you all in the Detroit landscape. This is 15 years old this year. This is our 15th year. Rock that. Yes. Clap your hands. And every single year, it has been within the borders of the city of Detroit. That is on purpose. Give a round of applause for that. It is the most Detroit conference ever. I don't care what you say, money. This is the most Detroit conference ever. We don't make any money. So we need your help. All right. When we say to you all, tickets are on sale and it's early bird and it's whatever it is, $75, $80 or whatever it is, we need you to buy your ticket. We are not making any money on this. We are not allowed to have profit on this conference. Do you all understand me? And so when we reach out to you all, whether you are a sponsor, whether you are a person who is coming, enjoying labs, we need you to support TEDx Detroit. We fight every year. The people who run this organization are entrepreneurs, have jobs. We are working our butts off in our own businesses and making this happen on a sound stage at the soundboard at the Motor City Casino. Rock that. So when we ask you for something, we need it. So listen, anytime I need y'all to dial in, I need you to get hype about this conference because it is 100% Detroit. Rock that. Rock that. Thank you for your help. All right, let's go. I know they done hit it back a couple times. I am talking about you are made greater than difficult as we close out today, right? And every photograph that you see up here is a photograph that I have taken. This is my work, right? So I want you to know that. It will talk to the point. We are made greater than difficult. And so this is a senior young man who made this burger out of paper mache. And what better way to tell the story of difficult than to make it look like he's trying to consume a hamburger that is bigger than himself. Rock that. Did we hit the not pause button? Oh, there we go. So listen, there are giants in the land. All right. Sometimes there are things that are in our territory that seem bigger than us. And sometimes they are bigger than we are. Does that make sense? And so I love this scripture. I'm not trying to push anything on you, but Numbers 13:3 says the content of, and we were in our sight as grasshoppers, so we were in their sight. What does that mean? People see you how you see yourself. And so attitude means absolutely everything. And so this is Jessica Care Moore and Scorpio, a female Black rock group, and that's their attitude. I will tell you that before we can kill our external giants, we must first kill the giant of low self-worth. Somebody say rock that. Money. If we're going to do anything in life, we got to throw away self-worth. And one of the ways to do that is to make a declaration. A declaration is a public, out loud statement that says, here I am, I'm not going nowhere, we getting ready to fight. It means to make known by words, to state explicitly. It means to not move off of your spot. And sometimes when you encounter difficult things, it is extremely important to hold your ground. There are some things that are important to you. And so this is a young man that loves Star Wars. And so he had this sword, and we made him look like a Sith Lord. There is an aggressive stance that you have to take sometimes. Somebody say sometimes. Sometimes you just got to go, right? And you have to take that stance. And so we're going to talk about living inspired. The word inspired means to breathe in. It means to breathe in something that is higher than you. The etymology of it means that there is some thought or some ideal that lives on a plane higher than where you exist. That is where we want to live. Our thoughts need to live in those places. So if you're going to be greater than difficult, then in those moments, diversify yourself. Become better. Learn something new. Become greater. Stand up to something, right? I would even say this to you. Money gets you a playlist that speaks to where you want to be in life. For a long time, my playlist was, all I do is win, 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 no matter what. Oh, money rock that. Y'all ain't ready for it. Find you some like-minded people. Find you some people who don't stop, who don't quit, who don't give up. Look to your neighbor and say, is that you? Money rock that. I want you all to walk in your power. And this is a teenager we took with the Wakanda Forever. Y'all know that we love, when that came out, money, you couldn't stop us. Money rock that. It looked like the X, right? And so walk in your power. A young man who in his senior year of high school was he did Civil War reenactments, right? And this is a photograph that we took of him, the stance that blacks took back then to fight in the Civil War. This is the kind of stuff that we want to do. You want to walk in your power. This is an example of that, right? And so find you some people, walk in your power, stand up, find out what that is. Find out what your gifts are. Determine what your look is going to be and what it's going to look like. Rock that. Money. This young man right here, this was his game prep. So every day before a game, he wore a Superman shirt up underneath his football jersey and listened to his song. This is how he prepped for games. They won 3 championships in a row. Rock that. This is how we become greater than. As I wait for this slide to change. Greater than difficult. And so this was a father who was waiting on, who was paying for everything for his high school senior daughter, and the wife trying to get a hold of a credit card. I just thought that this was funny. I don't care. This is all kind of difficult right here, right? Rock that. You see, I'm reaching for it, but they just quite out of reach. Rock that. Very cool. We're going to talk about resolve. Strong, unwavering decisions. The one before this was passion. Passion is going and willing to die for something, willing to suffer for is really what it means. Passion means willing to suffer for. Resolve is a strong, unwavering decision. Resolve is a strong, unwavering decision. I believe that if we are going to overcome things and overcome difficult, you have to have passion, you have to have resolve. There will be problems. There are always going to be things in life. It is your resolve that will determine how you come through and how you look when you come through after you have taken your stance, after you have walked in your power, after you have listened to your playlist over and over and over again, and after you've worn your Superman shirt up underneath your jersey. Rock that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. God bless you.
That's it. Now it's your turn. Quit asking for permission. The status quo is never going to grant it, and it's not theirs to give. Go, do, lead, blaze a trail, shine a light for others, make ripples in the world. Put your ideas in motion. Ideas don't hatch, so quit sitting on them. When you prove out your theories, your thesis, the defenders of the status quo are going to be knocking at your door, asking you, what's next? Have a great day. Make it happen.